Now, if you think things were muddled in our country before about the moderates wanting to do certain things to change from the original government, or the radicals saying the moderates aren't doing enough, things are going to get even messier. The new people in power, the radicals, typically, anger a large portion of society because more people lie in that middle of that political spectrum, somewhere between really radical and really, really conservative, are the moderates. And a lot more people tend to inhabit that portion of this political spectrum. So the moderates end up fighting back against the radicals about who owns the revolution. If you think about the American Revolution, you have the one hand guys like Samuel Adams saying that we should make everyone in American society equal, that everyone should have as much money as everyone else. That's pretty radical. On the other side, you have guys who keep saying that we should have a king. We should just be an American kingdom. That's pretty conservative. In the middle, you get guys like John Adams and Thomas Jefferson who say, you know what, we need to find a middle ground here. And they fight back about who and what the revolution was about. So which group made life better? People start divvying up sides. And in a lot of cases, this leads to a civil war. In America, it was a political fight. But in a lot of countries, this actually breaks out into open fighting, where one group who wants massive change in society looks at the other group who wants small changes in society, and they fight it out until blood's spilled and one side is victorious. People who had been allies during the fight against the original government, against the king or against whoever they revolted against, they end up fighting against each other because they don't have anyone to fight against other than themselves anymore. And let's face it, some people are just better at fighting than anything else. As you can imagine, someone eventually says, wait a second, why are we fighting against ourselves again? There are plenty of other people in the world that we could fight against. So let's fight against them, bring our country together, and make everybody mad at someone else again. Okay, that's a really tough example. Let me look at it this way. So, Addison, for example, has really made a lot of you mad. So you guys gang up on him and, kick him out of class, which is really hard to do because it's an online class. But someone says, now that Addison's gone, we really don't like you, Carlos, so we're going to get you next. But some of you say, hey, I like Carlos. This is a bad idea. Let's not kick him out. So you side up between the two guys, between Carlos going and Carlos staying, and you fight against each other until one of you, rather ingeniously, my money's on you, Sartell, says something like, wait, we've got to stop fighting against ourselves and focus on the real enemy, Addison. And you get back to fighting that original person. This is a foreign war. The French do this. They are so worried about the things going on in their revolution that they start fighting against Germany. Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird, but that's how it goes sometimes. You distract the people by fighting a war with someone else. It really glosses over the fact that there are differences between people because now you have a common enemy that you dislike. Now, when you choose to fight a foreign war, typically it becomes some sort of threat to society. Again, looking at the French Revolution, this meant that the nation of France was distinctly threatened by the other countries in Europe. So that threat meant that people were willing to take drastic measures to preserve their country and their revolution. So they turned to some sort of strongman, some sort of powerful central military figure who can lead the revolution through its tough times. In the French Revolution, this is Napoleon. Yeah, I know. They start out fighting for freedom and then turn themselves into an empire because they love the Napoleon guy. In the English Civil War, this is Oliver Cromwell, who they freak out so much that the king might come back in power that they give all of the military control to Cromwell, who just kicks the living snot out of the king and then moves on to do the same to the Irish. In the Russian Revolution, this is Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. He is a military leader writ large with a little bit of help from this guy named Joseph Stalin. P.S. Stalin's not his real name. Stalin in Russian means man of steel. So yes, you can just picture Joseph cruising up to the potato bar going, hey, my name's Joe, man of steel. How you doing? Yeah, you got it. Joe Stalin was a player. But I digress. So, when the power gets put into the hands of a strong man, he typically does this for military reasons to preserve the revolution. That typically settles things down. Now, sometimes he turns into a leader and a dictator, but every once in a while you have someone like George Washington, who at the end of this crisis stage is willing to set down and give up his power and let the democratic process take place and lets the goals of the revolution happen. This is what makes Washington such a unique case in American history. He sets the precedent. He's the first revolutionary strongman to do this. He steps down. This is phenomenal. and this begins our slow and uneven return to quieter times. So things start calming down.